Welcome back to Wild and Wonderful and to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited today to show you how to create these two granny squares, which is really just the same pattern with some different embellishments on it. It's a really fun, easy project. I actually just made an entire Halloween sweater for myself with this, and though people are asking me how and if I put up a pattern or wrote it out, I did not. I just winged it, shoved it all together because I wanted to get through it and make it in time for Halloween. But I'm hoping that I can at least treat you to something a little bit similar, and you can figure out how to make your own by showing you how to make these squares that can be built into pretty much anything. If you know anything about me, I love Halloween and I really love granny squares. So this is merging my two loves into one thing. There's just a basic stitch that goes into all of these. It's a double crochets, a half double crochet, and we do end up using a triple crochet in the corners because we're taking a circle and turning it into a square. So you can use this technique for a lot of different things outside of just. Okay, for supplies, you don't really need much, just some yarn. Shocker here, right? I am going to be using Big Twist value yarn. I have talked about this a couple of times now, but I prefer to have yarns that I know I can always get, and Joann carries these locally for me, and they always consistently have the same colors, so it helps feed my need to not have to hunt for things. I just want to be able to find what I want when I want it. So anyway, and I like this yarn. It's an acrylic yarn. I know some people don't really love acrylic. I do. It holds up well. It doesn't pill too much, and it's soft on my hands. So that's why I use it. You can use whatever yarn you want. I'm going to be using, this is a size 4 worsted weight, a pretty basic yarn weight, and my trusty size H hook that I've been using forever. I do not use fancy tools. I'm not a fancy person. You don't need fancy things if you don't want to. Anyway, I digress. So the colors I'm using today are black. This one is called Slime, which people use this a lot for like Grinchy style things. It's also great for Halloween colors. And then white, and then I don't have a skein of it anymore, but I just have a little bit of leftover red because we're going to be doing a Bloodshot version of the eyeball as well. So let's get going on creating our eyeball granny square. All right, we're going to just start with a basic circle, just like most of my projects seem to start with circles. I do a lot of hats and granny squares. So I use a chain method for my center. I know some people are really against that. It is what it is. It's what I like. I can control the center the most. If you use a magic circle, absolutely use a magic circle. Or if you want to do the chains to make a circle and it has still that little hole in it, you can. But I just use a chain 1 method, which actually ends up being a chain 3 because we're going to be doing double crochets here. So here's my chain, or my slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's going to count as my very first double crochet. And then I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to go back into my original slip stitch, and we are going to double crochet 12 total, so 11 more. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. You have to forgive me. I always find crocheting on video for some reason so much harder than it is to just do it in front of my face. So anyway, so I've got 12 almost completed. And what I do, because we're going to be doing color changes, I have talked about this in some of my other videos. I prefer to color change in the round that's below the one that I'm about to go into, because I use the last 2 loops and it seems to be a tighter fit for me, and I find it easier to weave my yarns, and I've never had anything come out or come apart that way. So it's just my preference. You can finish this round off and join and start again, but I start in the round below. So I leave these 2 loops on my hook. I trim. We grab our second color and you just pull through the yarn. And this is our iris color. You can pick any color for this. I like a nice spooky Halloween green, so it works great. So we're going to just pull through those 2 loops to finish that final double crochet, and then going to go to our very first double crochet, which is actually our 3 slips or our 3 chains that we made, and we're going to slip stitch into that last chain. So then we've created our first round. Pull everything tight, and then we are going to double crochet 2 in every single double crochet that we have on the first round for round 2. So we're going to end up with 24 double crochets, and you just double crochet into each chain space twice, or each double crochet from the round below twice. So we're going to chain 3 to pull up our first double crochet, and then in each and every double crochet space, we are going to crochet 2 to do our increase. So we end up with a very flat circle, but also an increased circle. So we'll have 24 double crochets all the way around. All right, just finishing up on our last double crochet here. And again, we're going to be doing a color change. So I'm going to trim my yarn and then grab my white, and we're going to join by slipping through, finishing that last double crochet with the new color, and then slip stitch to the first round, our first set of double crochets. So we've completed our circle. So now we've got 1, 2 rounds, and we're going to be working on round 3. So for round 3, we are going to have a total of 36 stitches, and we're just doing a basic increase like we do for most circles. So we're going to draw up first 3 chains, and that's going to count as our first double crochet. And in the next chain space, we're going to do a cluster of 2 double crochets because we're increasing all the way around here. So we've got 1 and then 2, 3. And so then the next space, we're going to do 1, and we're just going to repeat that again. So we're doing 1 stitch in the next space, and we're doing 2 stitches in the space after that. And we're going to do that all the way around. So we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. So we end up adding another 12 stitches all the way around this circle, but it ends up being 36 total. So let's just go ahead and get all of our stitches in here. And these, again, are double crochets. And this time we are not doing a color change for this particular eyeball. We're going to keep this one not Bloodshot, just a regular eye. So we're going to go ahead and finish this round and slip stitch to the very first double crochet, or that set of chains that we did to create a double crochet. And so we've got our 3rd round finished. And now we're going to move on to our 4th round, which is very similar, but we're using a half double crochet this time instead of a double crochet. So we're going to pull up just 1 chain stitch, and the pattern on this one is, so you do 1 in the next stitch, 1 in the stitch after that, and then the increase happens in the third stitch. So every third stitch gets an increase of a half double crochet, and that ends up giving us 48 stitches all the way around. So we pulled up one, and that counts as our first half double crochet. We're going to half double crochet one into the next stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet an increase of 2 in the stitch after that, and we keep going around. So we just half double crochet 1, half double crochet 2, and then in the next chain, in the next space, we are going to be doing 2 half double crochets. We do that all the way around for a total of 48 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and continue around. All right, so we're coming up on our final half double crochet, and we're going to be doing a color change here. So again, this time, here's the last 3 loops that are going to be left on my hook, and I'm going to grab my black yarn again, and I'm going to finish that stitch with the new color, and that's how I do my color changes. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first one, and now we have finished round 4. So it is a double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, and then half double crochet, and that's all the rounds. And we started with 12, so it's 12, 24, 36, and 48 stitches all the way around. So for round 5, this is where we are going to be building our square. So this now becomes the corner of our circle, is now going to be turning into a square. So this, where we're going to be starting to work from, is going to be one of the corners. So we're going to be creating bigger stitches on the corner and smaller stitches in the middle, so it evens out and kind of brings out and squares up these rounds. And by doing that, what we're going to do is a triple crochet. So we're going to draw up 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, as our first triple crochet. We're going to yarn over 2 and go back into that same space and work a triple crochet. So there is our set of 2 triple crochets right here. In the next space, we're going to be doing a double crochet, and the space after that is another double crochet. So we've done triple, triple in the same space that we came up in with our chains, double, double. We're going to do a half double crochet, half double crochet. We'll do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then so now we're at the flat point. So here's our corner, and we flattened out here, and now we need to bring it back up to get to that point for the corner again. So we are going to half double crochet to increase the height, half double crochet, half double crochet. We're going to do 2 double crochets in the next 2 chain spaces, 1, 2, and then we've hit our corner. So we're going to be creating our triple crochets cluster. So yarn over 2, we're going to triple crochet. There's 1, we're going to triple crochet again in that same space, 2. We are going to chain 2 because we're turning a corner here. You kind of resituate yourself, and we're going to go back into that exact same space that we just crocheted the 2 triple crochets, yarn over twice, and we're going to triple crochet 2 more into that spot. There's 1 and 2, And so now we've got, do you see how we're creating that corner? And we're evening out. It's thicker here and thinner here, but that makes it so we can make our circle into a square. So we've started this new side with these 2 triple crochets. So we're just going to come back in here and double crochet in the next space and double crochet in the space after that. Then we're going to half double crochet, half double crochet. We're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then we've got to bring it back up. So we're going to half double crochet in the next 2 spaces, half, half, whoop. And then we're going to double crochet in the next 2. There's 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. And then we're going to triple crochet our corner cluster just like we did this side here. So yarn over twice. We're going to triple crochet. There's 1, 2 into the same space. We're going to make a corner chain of 2 and then go back into that same space with another set of 2 triple crochets. 1, 2. And see, we are creating our corners. All right, and now we're going to restart that pattern of decreases and then increases again. So we're going to double crochet in the next 2 spaces. 1, 2. We're going to half double crochet in the 2 spaces after that. Half, half, single crochet for 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we need to increase our size because we're headed back to creating a corner. So we're going to half double crochet 2. There's 1, 2. Double crochet in the next 2 spaces. 1, 2. And then we need to do our triple crochets to create a corner. So we're going to yarn over twice. We're going to do 1 triple crochet. And then in the same space, we're going to do a second triple crochet. Going to chain 2, yarn over twice, go back in the same space we were working, do another triple crochet, and our 4th triple crochet for that corner spot. And so we are continuing our square and it's looking great. And we're just going to finish off with our pattern of decreases and increases. So we're going to do double crochet in the next space, double crochet in the next space, half double crochet in the next 2 spaces, single crochet 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll do a half double crochet for the next 2, 1, 2, because we're going up in size. We're going to double crochet for the next 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to work in our very first space that we started in when we began our square with 2 final triple crochets. There's 1 and 2, and then we are going to chain 2 and slip stitch to the very first triple crochet, which is really just chains that we created to finish our square. Isn't that nifty? We went from a circle to a square and it wasn't too painful. It's just a matter of starting tall in the corners and going shorter and then getting tall to go back out to the corners, and that's how we square up these circles. All right, we're just going to tie it off. And then you can go ahead and weave your ends into the back here and get it all nice and neat. And I am going to go ahead and whip up a second square that has the red. That's the only difference between these 2 squares, is that the Bloodshot eye, this final half double crochet row has a round is red for the Bloodshot aspect of it, but you do it the same exact way. So it's double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, and then a mixture of half, treble, and double crochets to be able to make it square. So I'm going to create that next one, weave these ends in, and I'll show you how to finalize the Bloodshot one. All right, y'all, we're back, and I have created a second eyeball, this one with a purple iris. Not the most natural colors, I have to admit, that I'm working with right now. And then I've also gone ahead and woven in all of the ends on both of these squares. So for both of them, what we're going to want to do first is grab a bit of white. And we just want to add like a little, let's just say like a little gleam in their eye, a little twinkle. You can add this wherever you want to. You can leave it off if you want, but I actually really think that it like brings up the level of the eyeball. For some reason, just visually for me, I prefer it. So just kind of pick a spot in the iris color where you want to start and just, draw up your yarn
from front to back through the white space, and then you're going to just pick a spot that's close by and end up in the black. So you're just covering up the green essentially. And you want to run this over like 2 to 3 times, so you just have like a thicker density for this. I guess I'm calling it kind of an embroidery. I like to run it 3 times. Make sure that you don't pull it too tight because you don't want it to pinch or distort any of your granny square. But it looks pretty good from the front, and then if you don't create the knotted mess like I do, you can go ahead and resituate all your yarns here and tie everything off so it is nice and neat on the back side as well. You'll want to treat this just like you do all of the loose ends for any of your granny squares that you're working with. So tie a nice knot just to make sure those ends don't go anywhere, and then grab your needle and run the ends and bury them into the work. So just find a similar color that you're already working with, run it back and forth at least 3 times, and then that way those ends aren't going anywhere, especially if you're making like a sweater like I did, because if you're going to run it through the washer, these things will come loose if you don't have them nicely wound into the yarns that are also part of the garment or the square itself. So you just want to hide those, make it look nice. You want the back to look kind of as good as the front, right? So I love the little twinkle. I think it looks so cute. You can leave that off if you want to, but obviously I'm a big fan of it. So if you want to add it, I say go for it. We're going to add it to the second square as well. This one is going to be a bloodshot eye, but we do like to add, or I like to add, this element to it first. Again, you just draw it up from the back, and then you run your yarn kind of in the same place 3 times, and it gives it a nice little detail. And I honestly think that the eye looks weirdly elevated the minute I put this little strand of yarn in it. You can have it super angled, you can have it more straight, you can have it however you want. The sky's the limit, so go ahead and just create however you see fit for this set of lines, just for a little detail. But yeah, I went and knotted it off, and then I am just going to go ahead and weave those ends in. You see I go back and forth 3 different times, and so it secures my ends, and that way I don't have any floppy yarn flopping around. Is that how? That's a phrase, right? But it makes it all clean on the back, but it also makes it a secure item, so you can use it. It's movable, it's stretchable, it's usable. So here are our 2, and the last thing that we're going to do is just focus on this bloodshot eye for more, I guess, embroidery details. We're going to make it more bloodshot. You just want to grab a pretty decent length of string of yarn. I think I have mine too big here, but that's okay. Too much is better than too little, right? And you can just start anywhere and pull up from the back through next to the red, and then you're going to be just choosing a spot across the granny square, anywhere you want it to go. You can have these as close together as possible, or you can have them further apart. It really doesn't matter. Whatever your artistic vision is the right one for this design. I like them to be, I don't know, 2 or 3 stitches apart, but it's truly, I'm not counting or being very specific with it. I'm just kind of going for it because you just kind of, want to, make it look as spooky or silly as possible. So when you've got it looking as bloodshot as you prefer, all you've got to do is just trim and tie these ends off like we did for all of the other details we added. Again, I just want to remind you not to pull it too tight while you're doing these designs. You want it to not pucker or change the fit or the size of the square. You just want to be kind of embroidering some details to the top of it. So I just tie off the ends and I'm going to weave it into the back here. Again, that rule of 3, it's a magic rule of 3. I don't know who came up with it, but I think I've always just done it naturally, and then along the way learned that I was doing the right thing. So that's good on me, I guess. So I'm just going to go ahead and weave these ends in and then trim them off so we can finish and admire our new Bloodshot granny square eyeball. I think these are just ridiculously adorable, and I loved turning this into a sweater like I did. Obviously, I'm not here giving you a pattern for that, and I am sorry, but I didn't write anything down. I was just kind of winging it as I went. If you followed along on my Instagram at all, I was constantly asking for advice on what I should do with these. So I really think these are adorable. I think this, you can turn these into a lot of different things, blankets, cardigans. I made some can coolers with them, and they were super duper cute. So it's just kind of whatever you can come up with will work. I'm excited to see what you make with them.